I believe their offense will click, their pitching will shine, and Toronto will finally show the fans that they can win games in October. Tampa will make quick and easy work of them and continue the monstrosity that is Rangers baseball in October. Honestly, I think Arizona is just happy to be here, and Milwaukee will make quick work of them. I have nothing else to say other than it's the Los Angeles Dodgers. They not only have one of the best offenses in the league, but also have one of the best pitching staffs in the league. Who will win? I think that the LA Dodgers will ultimately lose to the Tampa Bay Rays. Alright. Everybody just needs to calm down. Did my World Series pick get swept? Yes. Did every single one of my conference finals picks get eliminated before making it there? Yes. Did I say that both teams that ended up making the World Series would get swept in the first round? Yes. But that was my first ever YouTube video. A warm-up video, if you will. So I get a pass. Let's all just pretend that that video never happened, okay? Now moving on from those horrid predictions, in today's video I will be recapping the 2023 MLB Postseason. If you're new here, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so that you know whenever I upload. Without further ado, let's begin. Going into this postseason, Blue Jays fans were hoping that this would finally be the year that they played up to their potential. They failed miserably. Everything that was a problem last playoffs were still a problem this playoffs. Guerrero and Bichette both sucked, Gausman was faulty, and exactly like last season, John Schneider tried to galaxy brain his way into a win and ruined the Jays' shot. Pulling Barrios when he was demolishing the Twins to then have Yusei Kikuchi allow like 3 runs right away is a terrible look. Minnesota just beat Toronto in every possible aspect of baseball in this series. Congrats to Twins fans on finally winning a playoff game, let alone a series. And for Blue Jays fans, get ready for another long winter. This series was like the Blue Jays series, but significantly worse. At least both of the Blue Jays' losses were relatively close in score. Tampa lost pretty badly in the first game and then got utterly demolished in the second game. Everything I said would happen in my predictions were the exact opposite of what actually happened in this series. Texas had the elite defense, great pitching, and clutch hitting, while Tampa's bats were super cold and everything else was horrible. Tampa simply forgot how to play baseball this postseason, and Texas made easy work of them. Even though Milwaukee got swept, they still put up a better effort than both the Jays and the Rays combined. That being said, it still wasn't nearly close to enough. In both games, Milwaukee scored their runs extremely early into the game, but after that they did basically nothing. Arizona was able to prevent Milwaukee from scoring after those early innings, and when the team started heating up in the later innings, there was nothing stopping them. Arizona was easily able to take down Milwaukee and advance to the NLDS. The first 3 series were all sweeps and consisted of one team getting absolutely obliterated by the other, and this series is no different. Miami got demolished, it wasn't even close. Just like the Tampa and Texas series, the first game was somewhat close, but the second game was just a spanking by the Phillies. Miami's pitching sucked, and it was shown by Philadelphia scoring 11 runs in 2 games. Philly was the heavy favorite in this series and proved once again why they are a juggernaut once October baseball begins. Besides Game 3, the series was actually pretty close. Obviously Houston got the better hand in those close games, but Minnesota sort of put up a fight. Alvarez played incredible this series, and that definitely helped the Astros beat the Twins. I think since Houston had been in so many of these situations before, compared to Minnesota who hadn't won a playoff game in a very long time before their win against the Jays, it helped them win. They were able to lock down the game in the later innings and prevent the Twins from getting any sort of momentum. Minnesota was able to win one game, but Houston's playoff experience showed as they rallied together and beat the Twins. My playoff predictions were horrible, absolutely awful. However, I was right about the Orioles getting swept. The first 2 games were very close, with Texas being able to sneak out a win in both games, but the third game was just an absolute beatdown by the Rangers. Besides the second game, Baltimore's offense was extremely underwhelming. They weren't able to hit, defend, or pitch when it mattered most. Texas continued their strong play after the series win against the Rays and pretty easily beat the Orioles. It's crazy how in the first 2 rounds, 6 out of the 8 series ended in a sweep, and this series is no different. Everything I said the Dodgers would do well, they ended up doing horribly. Their pitching was absolutely horrendous, and they couldn't hit a baseball to save their lives. Arizona absolutely obliterated the Dodgers in the first game. The next 2 games were very close, both ending in 4-2 scores, but both of those games were won by the Diamondbacks, meaning that once again another team got swept. Up to this point, Arizona and Texas were both 5-0 in the playoffs. Who would have thought that? Arizona used their momentum from their series win against Milwaukee and carried that into this series against the Dodgers. In return, they beat them with ease and advanced to the NLCS. This series was probably the closest of them all up to this point, besides that one game where Philly won 10-2. Every game besides that was extremely tight. Even though Philly won in 4, this game could have easily gone to Game 5. Philly's pitching really stepped up this series and was one of, if not the main reason Philadelphia won. Harper and Turner both had massive series, en route to Philly advancing to the next round. This series was also extremely entertaining. Just when you thought Houston had all the momentum after winning Game 5 in dramatic fashion, Texas stormed back and obliterated them in Games 6 and 7. This series had offensive duels, defensive duels, and pitching duels. What more could you ask for? In my opinion, this was probably the most entertaining series in this postseason, which was capped off by utter domination from the Rangers as they went on to win in Game 7. Arizona really showed their will to compete with this series win against the Phillies. Philly came out to an early 2-0 series lead, and considering they went to the World Series last year, most people thought the series was over. But Arizona never let those first 2 games get to them, and stormed back, taking Games 3 and 4. Games 5 and 6 were both statement wins by each team, and in a close Game 7, Arizona was able to squeeze out the 4-2 win. If people didn't believe Arizona was legit after their first 2 series wins, they definitely believed it now, as Arizona defeated the Phillies and advanced to the World Series. Here we are, the World Series that basically nobody expected. Diamondbacks versus Rangers. After the first game, people were thinking this series could easily go to at least 6 games, but that wasn't the case. After Arizona won Game 2 to even the series at 1 apiece, Texas absolutely dialed in. When their hitting was cold, their pitching won them the game. When their pitching was cold, their hitting won them the game. And their World Series win was capped off by a near immaculate Game 5. This game was very close until the top of the 9th, where Texas pulled away, scoring 4 runs and basically securing their World Series championship. Corey Seager and Marcus Semien popped off the series, which in turn gave the Rangers all the firepower they needed to beat the Diamondbacks and win their first title in franchise history. And there we have it. The 2023 MLB postseason is now over and the offseason begins. Leave a comment telling me how good your team did this year and what moves you would like them to make in the offseason. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you always know when I post a video. I appreciate you all taking time out of your day to watch my videos, and I will see you all again very soon.